Founding enters. We play Founding and we put it on mode number 2 for our target opponent to mill 4 cards. Target them, they mill 4. And then we play a dragon. The dragon enters. We bounce dragon and founding, and then we repeat this process until our opponent is out of cards. Today's video, we are going to be playing one of the craziest combo decks that you can currently play in standard by just spending 4 mana. And then you'll be able to bring back one of the most classic enchantments ever printed for Magic the Gathering and be able to play out your entire deck. And that is, of course, an Omniscience Abuelo Awakening combo. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be really diving into what this deck has to offer, and we are going to be playing it in a different way than we've been playing it in the past, but the kind of fundamental build of it stays true. So what's our goal? We have a multitude of ways of getting an Omniscience into our graveyard, whether that is a rolling Dragon Storm by drawing 2, putting a card in the graveyard, Confounding Riddle on our opponent's end step, Moment of Truthing on wherever that card's at, Moment of Truthing on our opponent's putting it in the graveyard as well, along with a dispersal by bouncing an important creature of our opponents or archaeologist milling over 3 and doing that. So plenty of ways to put it in the graveyard if it is in our library or in our hand, and with Hopeless Nightmare being such a prevalent card, they can kind of do it for free for us. Or there's an instance in one of these games where we actually make a very unique play that doesn't happen very often on like turn 6 or 7, where we actually fill up our hand to maximum hand size and refuse to cast another spell. So we're forced to discard the hand size, where we get to put this Omniscience directly into the graveyard. But what makes this deck unique and different from the others? Well, we have a way to cast our entire deck, almost guaranteed. I mean, it is guaranteed, but you have to obviously find the other pieces to do it. But we can mill out our opponent infinitely if we so must, and we don't have to play the kind of clunky 5-mana enchantment invasion. And best of one, you could consider running this, but for now we're not going to. We're going to be sticking to kind of the tried and true way the deck is running in best of 3, and that is using Founding the Third Path, an interesting card that is typically used in other combo decks like Squirming Emergence. But here we're going to use the target player mills 4 cards mode, and we're going to use the River Regent Dragons. Remember, these will all be free at the time Omniscience in the graveyard. So we can cast this for free. When it enters, this creature enters, return up to 2 other target non-land permanents to their owner's hand. So if we have 2 of these, we play Founding down, we mill our opponent, we play a Regent down, we pick up Founding, make them pick up a permanent, we play a second Regent, pick up a Founding and a Regent, and we repeat that cycle over and over again, where now all we have to do is cast Founding, make them mill, cast Regent, pick up Regent and Founding, and then we do that over and over again until they're out of cards, and then we pass the turn and our opponent will lose. But there is one final way that this deck can win, and that is actually in a fair way to some extent, where we've established an Omniscience and we just opt to hit our opponent over the head with a 6-7. And why is that the way we can do it? Well, if we put 2, 3, or 4 of these in play, we're now cycling them up, and if you do have 2, you can constantly pick one of their permanents up and pick the Regent back up and just bounce all their permanents. And then we just hold something like Confounding Riddle and removal spells and things like that, and just allow this to win the game in 2 turns. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and dive right into the games and see quite crazy games that do end up happening thanks to Omniscience. Is how some of these games we end up casting like 20 to 30 spells in 1 turn and almost don't get there. So it's a pretty interesting experience that this deck has to offer us on the ladder currently. So let's dive in and see how they go. All right, my opponent goes first. I think our hand's pretty good. We'll keep. Have a temp lockdown to help when we can dispersal on 1. Seems like the good old-fashioned deck that we all know and love. Corey Steel Cutter. In the land, we could have kept it, but it's not going to curve out the way we want anyway. Or it's just got control. Wait, I knew that was just got control. Can I stop drawing lands? Please. Yep, it's going to be a tough one, I think. Alright, well, maybe it's not. I don't know. Let's discard a card at this point. Are going to be Blast Zone? It could be one of the dispersals, but not really sold. It should be. You have the counter spell kind of up and ready whenever we get to it, but we're missing both pieces of the puzzle for ourselves. This deck doesn't really play a ton of counter spells outside of 4 to 6. Depends whether they're on 3 steps ahead or not. There's a Bezo. That's either a 1 of or a 2 of. Kind of weird things to know. Do I go for Moment of Truth now? I don't think so. It's one of those things where you stress them on their turn. Don't really do anything. If they want to interact with me, they got to do it on their turn. Go for a Moment of Truth now. I'll put this land in my hand. I will put this Omniscience into the graveyard, and I'll put that somewhere else in my library. There's an Omniscience in hand, so we know exactly the first spell we need to cast is. Oh, land will pass. First was not really doing anything. And it could be holding like Get Lost, Lightning Helix, etc., etc. That's why the second Omniscience is obviously going to be good. There's a Biza. Biza I do not care about. Besides the fact that their hand's larger than mine. But not if I bounce Biza back to their hand. Their hand will be 6 and mine will be 6, and then they draw no new cards. Oh, we'll bend both of those. So basically they spent 4 mana to play Biza and do nothing. We play land and then we pass again. We'll do the exact same thing. Biza comes down. Well, now it's actually 6, do nothing. Now they have 6 cards in hand. And then I'll just bounce it again. The threat's going to be there for a while, brother. I don't know. Now I have counterspell, I think, in both ways, right? Yeah, but I don't really have a lot to go on with it outside of the riddle, so I guess. Firm value. We'll try to bring back an Omniscience. Okay. Would like to counter your exile. And then they can see. They don't even make us do it. Temporary lockdown and a maul from our opponent. I'll keep. Oftentimes, if we're able to temporary lockdown, stall out a lot, and then go into a stock up or something. Cage? Okay. Auras of some kind, maybe? Could still be cage. And okay. Awesome. Gotta love when you play an archive and immediately put your win con in the graveyard that you want in your graveyard. Zero armor, they're going big. Audacity, maybe? I could very well just be dead next turn. Isn't that crazy? This is 7 I just got hit with. So, let's see how important the play and draw mattered. Trample and lifelink. Okay. I'm it too. Bro, tell me how mono red beats that. I'll wait. I'll wait. My opponent is clearly in the driver's seat, ready to go on that one, Chief. But as long as there's no haster here, I should be good. Because obviously we have everything that we want. Our opponent holds up. Maybe they have a get lost, but we obviously have another one. We fire off Abuelo. Firm. Bring this out. Our opponent says, I have answer, but I have second Omniscience. And my opponent doesn't let me do it, and that's all it requires. Plan to go. Awesome. Great way to put Omniscience right in that graveyard. Maybe our opponent will do it for us. Who knows? Temporary lockdown is definitely not going to do it. Put Dragon Storm. We'll draw some pretty solid cards. We'll put that Omniscience right away, and then we'll look to stock up next turn. Okay, maybe we won't. We're getting exile affected here. Stock up is no longer going to be the card that we know, love, cherish, and hold. This is definitely a deck that can play exile effects, so I don't think counterspell is necessarily that important, but I do think it matters if they go for like a Ghost Vacuum on the following turn that we might have to counter it, and I will be willing to wheel the top 4 cards in my library to find the Abuelos in a spot like this, knowing that I'm against a strong kind of graveyard hate deck. If it is the Ketramos deck, I always say Cloythus for some reason, but Ketramos deck, they're definitely on the exile train. Now, if they play Ketramos, I ignore it entirely. I just don't care. Yeah, That's what I was talking about, where I think I just want to barrel my... I just kind of want to barrel this to go looking for it. Don't find it, but I could put a Moment of Truth in my hand. The rest can go in that graveyard. Stock up's pretty awesome. I could go for Archaeologist. I'm going to go for a stock up here. Oh, I'll grab this, and I'll grab this, I guess. Land's probably fun. Show me the max graveyard. Hey. Sure. I don't really have anything. This is really the epitome of like who's going to find the right card first. And right now it's going to be probably them. Okay. They're digging for it. Alright. I mean, I get 6 looks here without needing to play this creature that they can target to draw an additional card, so I'm going to take it. Also might be a thing, like, in this matchup, we can actually just grind it out long enough just to cast Omniscience. So, anytime we see a land in one of these kind of cycles, we should probably grab it, but at this point, I'll grab it, Omniscience, I guess. I guess Graveyard Omniscience, put the land back in my deck, I don't know. I cast second Moment of Truth. But the Archive in my hand, the temporary lockdown away, and the land back. Temporary lockdown not really going to do much for us here. We'll take a Surveil. Put this land away. Now they could obviously play hand disruption spells, but I think I want to play this anyway. Well, I know they play hand disruption. They could play more hand disruption is kind of what I was getting at. I'll take a dispersal here. So if they try to remove my Archaeologist, I'll put it back in my hand. In Catchermost, it's not really doing much. But again, it's also like, do they find their max exile effect before I find enough lands to cast this? And even then, will they have the answer, like a Get Lost maybe? Two Omniscients are already in there. One of our Regents are in there. It's all looking weird. I'm going to cast Dispersal now, though. And there's Abuelo. So that should get us there. Cast, confirm, Omniscience. Omniscience, if you would. Again, always having that second Omniscience to kind of balance out the scales is obviously good. Cast the second one first. No time to wait. Called free real estate. Something about that, I don't know. We can obviously blow this one up. Now it doesn't really matter. We can dispersal it back to our hand even and then replay it as well if we wanted to. But obviously we would go for the creature, I would guess. Yeah. I mean, pretty solid hand. We got the dispersal. We got the Dragon Storm. Everything's looking up. If it's aggro, we can immediately put it back in their hand. Help us find lands. Temporarily lock them down on turn 3 while also absorbing our Dragon Storm, which will be okay. If that's what it comes down to. The main issue right now is obviously finding Abuelo. And what? Okay. Interesting. Go for the rolling. We're trying to find lands here. We miss entirely, but we will discard an Omniscience. Oh, boy. What to do, what to do. Our opponent, if we miss land, will effectively take the draw from us. And... or the play from us, and also have drawn an extra card. Alright. Creature tokens get +1 more. Sure, I take 2. Not the worst thing in the world. Fortunately for us, we do find a land. Stock up, obviously important here, but with 4 looks anyway with dispersal, I think I'll just keep. I know I could temporary lockdown, but looks like they might be a token deck. So honestly, it might just be a situation where I just fully let them commit out a ton of creatures and then just go for a lockdown. If it's something like play a Knight Errant here, I'll just bounce Knight Errant. Invasion. Okay. That's something. Sure. I don't know what you want to take from me. You stock up? Now, here's the thing, by the way. I don't remember if an effect like Invasion affects Omniscience. It's been such a long time since I've had to deal with it. But it also, this exiles it, so it will affect it here, because Omniscience only says cards that you cast from your hand. So, I mean, I have an Omniscience in my graveyard. Just read the dang card, brother. You may cast spells from your hand. So yeah, like this card I won't even be able to cast anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, we know what we want to do. I'll fully reset the might color, I guess. Then we see a land and stock up, which seems good, but I have a stock up in hand. Want the land here? Sure. Honestly, that's a pretty good pickup for us. Just, what did they name that on? Why did it immediately go away? Temporary lockdown number 2 is whatever. I'm just gonna grab a land. Rabbit? Frog? Rabbit? Oh! Unfortunate for them. Okay. I didn't realize it was gonna really time walk them like that. But sure. Again, I have a temporary lockdown for all this, so it doesn't really matter. Tap land that we can play, and we also have a dispersal, so, you know, that's where we're definitely going with this. Could have played untap land and played the temporary lockdown from there, but maybe I should have, considering there's an invasion in here. But if they bounce this to my hand and then exile it, like the 5 mana doesn't matter, right? Because I can now afford to play it every single turn. Not like the invasion is going to get higher and higher. Obviously, counter spells isn't necessarily going to ever hit their creature. Shelter by Ghost. Fine. Fine. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with the Rolling Dragonstone being able to hit here. Discard a card. I guess in this moment, it should maybe be the land. At this point, we'll definitely find more with what our hand has to hold. Now I feel like it's got to be stock up, right? Also, to some extent, I kind of want to just, if I had to land, I know I discarded it just now, but kind of play this and just bounce and bounce. And then they have like a good creature in play, but realistically, 6-7 here, we can absorb this damage. Their life total doesn't matter to us at all. We're going to mill their entire library, so kind of our plan at the moment. Invasion, obviously, kind of in a struggle. They do take it. Okay, okay, okay. Honestly, I respect that a bit. Play the archive, see what cards on top. Definitely don't need that other land, that's for sure. Barrel temporary lockdown. Have to remember, Omniscience can't cast this anymore, so. Although now we're in a weird spot where our temporary lockdown is currently in play and everything's under 1. So if they do the exact same play, that's what this is. This is kind of a dead lockdown, so it doesn't really do anything. Merrick's tokens could technically get there, but we have a way to bounce them and we're going to stock up, so it doesn't really matter to me. You have exactly that again. There is no way. That's insane to me. Yeah. I mean, and they shelter by ghost it twice. Now they just have to never attack with it, right? You go to invasion here. 1, 2, 3. I guess if I draw a land, I could still bounce the token, and thankfully, if I bounce the token, the shelter by ghost will all go away. So they won't be able to get them back. They would have to find another one. Rolling Dragonstorm still will trigger. You just have to select your target before anything else happens. You do find a land. So I guess... So they took this last time. And unfortunately, because they're active player, the way this will all resolve will be really awkward. They could take my dispersal to make it more mana, which would suck. I discard here. I guess it has to be the land again. Invasion. We're going to take the region or not. This time I can now cast Regent and put a lot of stuff back in their hand. Kind of the idea. Alright, so they take the Dispersal, knowing what we can do with it. Then now we get to do it. Oh boy. An interesting play. We could just play Regent and then bounce the Lockdown back to our hand, but I don't want to keep doing that. But playing a 6/7 here is pretty awesome, I think. Tell you to pick, like, I don't know. That's a big creature, but I don't think I'm going to pick these up. They have to play them back out, and this will only grow at the same rate. They can play their whole hand, though. Play Frog, Rabbit, and Rabbit here. Then this will grow, and then this will grow to, what, 5? But we have 7 toughness sitting on the board. So it feels like it's never getting through. Now we're playing the fair game. I didn't necessarily know I was going to have to do time soon. Hop to it. So they do find a way to grow this to 1 billion. And that can give indestructible. So I just hold this, I guess. Hexproof or no? Hexproof and indestructible. Alright. Alright, man. Bet. Another land. Dispersal in the yard. Not a lot to do. Alright. Is it just permanents? Creatures you control gain hexproof. Well, I have a backup plan anyway, I guess. I don't know why I didn't really think about this the first time. So, for combat. Let's attack. Let me bonk your noodle. Then, instead of making the mistake this time, I'll actually catch it. How do I tell which one's underneath it? Actually, I haven't had to have this happen very often. Attached card. Okay, so I can see it this way. Exile by Shelter Beggar. You don't say. That one, and then pick up this one. You don't say that it's exiled by Shelter by Ghost, huh? Like, that didn't help me at all. Give me everything. I want it all. Give it up. And there's a reason we obviously picked the other temporary lockdown back up here. I will get rid of that land. Thank you. And we're going to do the thing that the old Omniscience combo couldn't do, and that's win a fair game against an aggro deck. Where we're just using these river regions just to beat them up, dude. I mean, yeah, we'll keep. Got a hand loaded full of stuff. We're ready to rock and roll. They got cool sleeves. Don't know what sleeves, but they're cool sleeves. Swamp, sure. Surveillant can wait a turn. Don't want to cast this unless I draw the Omniscience. We much rather cast a Moment of Truth. Double Swamp. Interesting. Put one of these in our hand. We'll just take the Sequim Coast. Put one in my graveyard. I think temporary lockdown's probably gone. Dispersal's out of our hand. There's a Abuelo. Play Sequim Coast now. Allows us to hold up a counterspell for something like a Slasher that we might not be able to answer right away. Unholy Annex does matter a bit, but Slasher with our current hand is unkillable, so we will counter it. Times it matters, team. Fail. Like Dragonstorm is like okay. I'll keep, I guess. I mean, I guess I could put it in the graveyard because Abuelo can actually get rid of it. But draw Omniscience in the graveyard, and then we're immediately going to be able to cast another one. So unless they have 2 copies of Feed the Swarm, sure. I think our opponent's just saying, you know what? If you have it, you have it. Nothing I can do. And right now, of course, there's nothing you can do. Omniscience number 1. Omniscience number 2. And that is a good game. I am sorry, opponent. Well, we can always hope our opponent plays a hopeless nightmare. Yeah, well, good. Archive right away. Tap land. Alright, we'll put one right in the graveyard. I don't even have to work to get this one in there. Ooh, it's aggro. Okay. Oh. Absolute necessity to find a land, and we do immediately. So now it's maybe find temporary lockdown so I don't die. But I do think this matchup kind of depends who's on the play, who's on the draw. They can kill on turn 3. It's just not likely, especially now that their hand started off a sleight of hand and a bolt wave here. Sure. One of these into our hand. We don't necessarily need to discard. We need to look at maximum cards here. So we want to grab Moment of Truth. We want to put this in the graveyard, and I'll tell you why we're putting that in the graveyard here in a second. Why that actually matters, and why it matters, if you're unsure, is whenever we bring back... Oh boy. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. I'd much rather represent stuff, or maybe we can find a dispersal that I can cast here. But the reason we're okay with this in the graveyard is because technically Abuelo can bring it back, and if we put an Omniscience in, we can actually cast this for 0 to bring back this like Rolling Dragon Storm, so we can get an additional trigger and draws in case we start whiffing. But right now, I think we're good. Monstrous Rage here is only +6. Pfft, only +6. And tell me Standard's dead and you to crazy cards without telling me. Now they're holding up some interaction, but worst case scenario, we'll just temporarily lock down them. So actually, no. Yes. No. Yes. No. I'll grab temporary lockdown. It doesn't really matter. Graveyard. We have to either find a lot of stuff or not. Okay. This is backup. My backup Omniscience. Firm. Omniscience. Yes. Thankfully, they don't have a Spell Pierce, because that could definitely be a card, which is why temporary lockdown is obviously important. Omniscience, Omniscience. Don't worry, I have multiple. Stock up. And worst case scenario, we'll just temporary lockdown. It doesn't really matter here. Confounding Riddle. All that's said and good. It's Riddle. Let's look at top 4. Oh, wait. Why is the option to pay for it even there? I mean, I guess you can still, because you may cast cards for free. Okay. Loop almost done. And I messed up. Okay. Wait a minute. I messed up. I need to grab one of these. Okay. Whoopsie daisy. Now I'm in trouble. I can... What's the mana? Oh, it's from hand. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Can't believe I did that one. Bring this out. That's a little frustrating. Dude, I don't need the 4th Omniscience, big dog. Pick this up. Maybe. Okay. For whatever reason, I will tell you what I actually was thinking is I 100,000% thought I was casting stock up and I was getting to grab 2 cards, and I just went to grab one piece of the loop, and I'm just an idiot. Do I have anything in there I can cast with this? Exile target instant source card from your graveyard, copy it. You may play that copy. Okay, so I can still cast stock up, so we're fine there. I'll block this Omniscience. It does not matter. Monstrous Rage would be good for them. Do this. Alright. 2-0. We do have to cast this card, by the way. Just remember that. Not from our hand, so we have to pay the mana. Of course, our Blast Zone. It gets held up. Oh, dude. Moment of Truth. Land. Okay. trying our best, dude. All right, it just keeps getting worse. Every time I look, I swear more and more lands just show up in the pile. Actually quite wild. Okay, thankfully we're not going to get screwed on that. At least I don't think thus far. Do have a way to do it. It's just I will grab stock up this and put those kind of wherever we need to put them. Got stock up. We need to find another Abuelo, I believe. Yeah, so stock up. Thankfully, I didn't punt this game into the sun. That would have been awful. So, I believe we have the loop now. Unless, of course, you know, I do the infamous mess up again, which would be awesome of me. They could have, like, a burn spell, so they could interact, I guess. Well, there's 2 of these, so now I can kind of go until I find an additional Abuelo, which would be the last one, right? So 1, 2, yeah. So technically we can do it. And now I play Regent. I have a second one, so it doesn't really matter. I'll just bounce both of these. Kind of seeing if they have a shock or something, which it seems they do. So we'll Abuelo return back, founding. Just mode 1. On lore counter. I will then play here. Just looking. And there's a counter spell, so I know I can do it now for a fact. And we'll get to see the loop for the first time in our gameplay. If you have not seen this loop, it's a pretty interesting one. So target, bounce, the rolling dragon storms is like kind of an additional loop we can do. Founding enters. We play Founding and we put it on mode number 2 for our target opponent to mill 4 cards. Target them, they mill 4. And then we play a dragon. The dragon enters. We bounce dragon and Founding, and then we repeat this process until our opponent is out of cards. Hopefully our opponent decides that they don't want to sit here through the entire pile, and they do not, and we get the win. Very, very cool. Opponents first. We have bounce. We have moment. I think everything's fine here. If they play Hopeless Nightmare, we have ways to get rid of this. Storm Chasers, sure. Not really surprised. Blast Zone number 2, maybe not our favorite draw of all time. This will tell us whether there is it or not this turn, and there's a sleight of hand, so thankfully no Quarry Steel Cutter. We'll take 1 damage to prevent probably what the 3 or 4 we take here, depending kind of what happens. Maybe a Swift Spear comes in. Yeah. The Swift Spear does demand their mana, but this kind of removes a creature indefinitely, and we get to put an Omniscience directly into the graveyard, so that's pretty awesome. So now it's just all about surviving these next couple of turns. My opponent's on the play, makes it incredibly hard to do so. The card we do not want to see is we do not want to see a Slick Shot. Slick Shot will end us, and it'll do it without even batting an eye. We hope that they miss a land here. That would be best case scenario. I lied. They didn't miss a land at all. Solve all here. We'll take 3. And then we're really going to be under the gun and just kind of hoping we're fine. Take out 3. No reveal. Maybe there's a Spell Pierce. But their priority was being held the entire time, so I feel like Spell Pierce isn't necessarily in their budget right now. Founding the 3rd pack can go in the graveyard. We need to grab the Riddle. We know how we can get this back to win the game, so graveyard into the library. Then we go right into Plains, and then we pass. And then we hope our opponent tries to strike for lethal, and we can counter that said lethal. But the problem is, we don't necessarily have a lot of great cards in our hand to actually do anything. Yeah. Huh? Oh boy. Alright, we play Blast Zone. We're going to kind of imply we don't have anything, and we're just going to blow up Blast Zone, destroying every permanent that they own. I feel like they're just holding removal. There's just not a whole lot we can do about it. Yep. Here. We'll go down to 1 Otter, and if we lose to 1 Otter, then I guess we lose to 1 Otter, right? This also allows us to build up some kind of hand endurance where we can kind of find something maybe other than a land to actually put into play, which would be pretty sweet. And I feel like our opponent at some point will get a little bit frustrating. Second Abuelo is also fine, because now we know that we can go for one and then go immediately for another. We're a bit off of counterspell considering we had to pop a blast zone. Storm Chaser's talent. I can resolve. Maybe they don't have anything. Sure. Yeah. Yep. Well, here's the thing. It's either Spell Pierce, which will cost us, it might be whatever. Please float that. Omniscience. But now we actually have cards in our hand. We really just hope it's a burn spell. Thankfully, we think it is. Then we get to go right into an Omniscience. We have the counter spell and everything. But before, they were kind of able to pay for it, so it wasn't necessarily that cut and dry. And then we can bring back the Founding if we want. We just have to find the good cards. And those are definitely by far not the good cards. Guess we grab the rolling. That cards can go in the graveyard for now. We find the dragon. If we find the dragon, we get so many more fresh looks here that it's not even funny. Oh, we're trying. We continued the try. Combo, combo, combo. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Rest don't matter there because it's all lands. Moment again. Even a temporary lockdown I'll take at this point. Or I'll just grab every moment of truth possible. This in the graveyard, this back to our hand. Or in our library. Because we might need that Abuelo later. Might being a strong word. Okay, I guess I'll take a temporary lockdown. Because, of course, that's what I need in a spot like this. Graveyard, hand. Do I have anything in here that I want to bring back? I guess it doesn't put a finality counter on it, right? No, like, good enchantment that I really want to bring back. Other than this. Your player mills 4 cards. I can hit them with that, but that's not going to really help me. Let's cast Lockdown here. Lose my rolling Dragon Storms though, which is a little tough. Then I will say go. Turn. All I did was play Moment of Truth, find Moment of Truth, play Moment of Truth, find, like, you can literally see it in my graveyard, which is quite funny. Look, they're doing the same thing. They're going to cast Sleight of Hand, find Sleight of Hand, cast Sleight of Hand, find Sleight of Hand, cast Sleight of Hand, find Sleight. Bro, our game's broken. It's not fair. Play land. Play Opt. Find Opt. Play Opt. Find Opt. Well, they haven't found a Corey Steelcutter in their top 20, so that feels pretty good. Alright, that sucks. Prevail. Want another land, I promise you that. I can bring that back. Do I have one? I don't even have one of those in my graveyard. I don't know. I'm going to try this. We'll bring out Founding. Doesn't kill the Founding if it goes away, so we can always play it later. Exile target instant or sorcery in our graveyard. Going to go for, I guess, Confounding Riddle would be the best, right? Because we could look at 4 here. I would like to find a copy of Stock Up, please. No? Okay. Or a dragon. That would also be awesome. I would definitely take finding a dragon. Okay, everyone. So I hope you enjoyed the deck list today. I found it very fun. I was pretty frustrated at the beginning overall, just because it was going pretty poorly as I was playing it, and then I kind of latched onto this list that I think Arnie, I never remember how to say his name. Arnie Hetchenbeth, I believe, was playing this, and they were playing in a tournament overseas. If you're in the U.S., I guess that's not everybody that watches this in the U.S. Just a little like kind of conceited, think that, but we basically cut the invasion. I have it here in the sideboard. We cut this because it's just a clunky card in general. And as you saw, we can just win a fair game because of these. Because they are 6/7s and they're huge. If we can just hold a couple counter spells in our hand, we're able to just hit our opponent over top of the head with this. We've bounced all their permanents. We've drawn all the cards we need. We're ready to go. We're ready to win. And it doesn't really matter what they do from the rest of the game on. And we've established an Omniscience both ways, whether it's a creature and also an enchantment, like in the normal sense of an Omniscience being played. And I definitely like this list overall more when it comes to performing kind of overall, because it's just like, well, if you lose Omniscience, you have 0 chance of winning. And it's like, that's not entirely true. We still have the Regents. We can still win a weird game, especially against aggro whenever we have temporary lockdowns. Because we all know how valuable just playing this, locking up their stuff is, playing a Regent, and then just hitting them over the head. And then some cases where we get to play Regents and then pick up the temporary lockdown, reset the temporary lockdown to kind of absorb more of their permanents and use this as a repeatable board wipe. But you could technically play 1 copy of Invasion. There's enough sources now that, especially in best of 1 and best of 3, you don't want to. But you could like slip 1 copy of Invasion in here and just play some of the sources in the sideboard that can immediately win the game. So this just gives you another loopable thing, which is technically faster when it comes to doing best of 1 shenanigans. You just get to do that. But say your opponent has a graveyard loop, well, they can't, like or a rest in peace, this gets around it if they've established, for example, say we whiff or whatever, and we have an Omniscience in play, we're able to kind of do the combo still without it. And as you can tell, as we did it once, it is just to loop this over and over again. But with that said, I hope you all enjoy it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.